I've worked the night shift at a massive warehouse for a few years now. The place is so huge it could swallow a small town. Rows upon rows of towering shelves, endless aisles of pallets and boxes, all bathed in the cold glow of flickering fluorescent lights. At night, with only a handful of other people on shift, it feels like I'm the only one there. The occasional sound of distant machinery or the shuffle of someone's footsteps echoes faintly, but I hardly ever see anyone. Most nights, I focus on organizing shipments, cutting up cardboard, and sweeping the endless concrete floors. The silence is so constant it becomes its own kind of noise, and while I usually find it calming, there's always an edge of unease, a reminder of just how alone I am in this cavernous space. One night, as I was working in the farthest corner of the warehouse, an area I've always found a little eerie, I heard something that made me stop mid-slice with my box cutter. It was a faint rustling sound, just barely audible over the hum of the lights. At first, I thought it was the ventilation system or maybe a pallet shifting under its own weight, but when it happened again, louder this time, I froze. It was coming from a stack of boxes a few rows over. I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to the usual warehouse noises, but the sound didn't stop. If anything, it grew more insistent, like something or someone was moving inside the stack. I hesitated, glancing around to see if anyone else was nearby, but of course, no one was. My pulse quickened as I crept toward the source of the noise, my box cutter still in hand. The stack of boxes loomed over me, and as I got closer, I noticed one of the boxes shifting slightly, as though something inside was struggling to get out. I stood there, staring, trying to convince myself that it was just my imagination. Then, before I could react, the box suddenly exploded apart, and something massive leapt out. It was a savanna monitor, a huge lizard at least 4 feet long, with thick, scaly skin and sharp claws. It hissed loudly, its long tail whipping against the floor as it lunged toward me. I stumbled back in sheer panic, nearly tripping over a pallet jack. My heart was racing as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Savanna monitors aren't exactly native to warehouses, or anywhere near here for that matter. It glared at me with its cold, reptilian eyes before scurrying off, its claws scraping loudly against the concrete as it darted under a shelving unit. For a moment, I was frozen, still processing what had just happened. My breathing was shallow, and I could feel my hands trembling. When I finally gathered myself, I bolted for the break room to find my supervisor. I burst in, panting, and told him what I'd seen. He looked up from his phone with a skeptical expression, raising an eyebrow as I tried to explain. "A giant lizard? In the warehouse? Come on, man," he said, clearly thinking I was messing with him. I insisted, my voice shaking as I described the monitor and how it had jumped out of the box, but he just shook his head. "You're probably just tired," he said dismissively. "Go clean it up and get back to work." Frustrated but still shaken, I returned to the spot where it had happened. The pieces of the box were scattered across the floor, but the lizard was gone. I looked around, half expecting it to dart out from under another shelf, but all I found was silence. I spent the rest of the night on edge, jumping at every creak and rustle, convinced it was still lurking somewhere in the warehouse. To this day, I have no idea how it got there. Was it an escaped pet? Smuggled in a shipment? The thought still makes my skin crawl. And even though my supervisor didn't believe me, I know what I saw. Every time I work in that corner of the warehouse, I can't shake the feeling that it's still there, hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to make itself known again.
Mark, are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard?